Hi, I'm Bruce Barkauer, and we're looking at the things that vital congregations have in common. What are the things that they're doing that churches who are struggling might learn from? We've talked about leadership, vision, and education. Our focus in this installment is communication. And we want to tell you that what we noticed first was that flourishing congregations follow what we call the 3 C's rule. Their communication is clear, concise, and consistent. In other words, it's simple, direct, and timely. They pay attention to both the message and the channel by which that message will be delivered, so it has the greatest chance for impact with its target audience. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But there's something else they do that's incredibly important, and it has to do with the way they frame the message. For example, when the church is needing something, whether it is volunteers or money or people to serve in some way, it's not presented as asking as if the church is needy in some way, and certainly not begging as if they're desperate. But rather it's presented as an opportunity. And further, by responding to this invitation, there's a connection in some way to the church fulfilling its vision and mission work. When it comes to leadership, it's never an all call, but rather a direct invitation through personal contact. We did not talk about that to any great extent in our earlier installment on leadership, so I want to mention it here. Thriving congregations are intentional about their leadership selections. Time is spent carefully discerning what leadership is needed, what are the skills, gifts, and graces necessary to accomplish the work, and who might be best to fit that role. The process is seen as spiritual, and it's surrounded with prayer. Before leadership needs are even decided, the leading of the Holy Spirit is sought for in discernment. Once a position is crafted, prayer is offered to find the right person. When a name is to be considered and invited, that person is contacted, the position explained, the expectations are stated, and how it connects to the church's vision is made clear. When the invitation to consider is extended, the person is asked to specifically give time to pray and discernment to see if God is calling them to that position. Sort of a double confirmation, if you will, about the fit. You might think about Peter and Cornelius in Acts 10. The approach is radically different than the typical way struggling churches try to find leadership by begging, pleading, or otherwise implying that the sky is falling with a threat to kill a program or a ministry if folks don't feel guilty enough to sign up. Or perhaps worse, they'll try to sell the position as no big deal. Yeah, there are a few meetings, but they're not that important if you miss them. And, well, if you can't come the week you're scheduled to serve, we'll just find somebody else to take your place. We just really need to fill this slot. Begins to sound pretty meaningless and inconsequential. And who wants to accept a job that obligates them in some way, but doesn't really matter? Who's got time for that? Can you hear the differences in what's being communicated? Struggling churches will often do the same with the money conversation. We can't pay the bills, rather than we can't fulfill our vision. Nobody wants to pay the bills, but who doesn't want to support ministries that have impact? Struggling churches tend to threaten to cut staff, cut program, cut salaries, and eventually cut their nose off to spite their face. When facing a financial shortfall, thriving churches talk about impact, making a difference, and how that ability to do what God has called them to do might in some way be limited. They tell stories about people they've helped and lives that have been changed. They don't threaten to fire the youth minister or turn off the air conditioning. They talk about their passion. Good communication is first and foremost about what message you're really sending. Vital congregations pay attention to both the message content and the message between the lines. We do well to learn from their example. Yes, larger congregations often have staff people who take the lead in this area, but even in a small church, you can practice the message to hear how it really sounds, and you can pay attention to how the message looks when it's presented. A bulk mail envelope with a computer-generated address sticker on the outside and a slightly crooked black and white photocopied letter on the inside that says, "Dear member" or "Dear friend," does not send a message that the content or the one receiving it is of any particular importance. Whether it's a newsletter or a social media post, first impression matters. It doesn't take a lot of extra time to make it look right, and it will really impact how it's received. Now, we know in basic communication models that there's the message, the content or information, and the channel, the method or delivery. And we have so many options now. It used to just be we did a newsletter once a month and everything was in print. But now you have options that are electronic, that include social media, and within that, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can choose email or messenger, and you can use the phone, actually call people. Another electronic way of communicating with people. But vital churches are paying attention to the channel so they can target the audience. General communication that's for the whole church will utilize all the channels available for the maximum reach. Yes, some folks will use multiple channels and get that message more than once, which really is fine because it acts to reinforce the content. It improves the accuracy of how the content is received. But not everything we want to communicate is for everyone. There are specific programs that have been created for particular groups, and we want to reach them by using the channels they're most likely to access. Facebook is great for boomers and some Gen Xers. Millennials seem to prefer Instagram, while younger millennials and Gen Z and the early Gen Y seem to prefer TikTok. Email and Messenger work for older adults, though print is still the preferred channel for those past 75. To be honest with you, it's unclear to me who really uses Twitter, though it seems to favor Gen Z. In our office, we tend to use it as a way to cover what we think might be some holes in our reach, meaning that most everything we send makes its way to that platform. And it's not just about getting on the right channel or platform, but it's the style and nature of the information you're sharing, and does it create engagement? Engagement is what you need to be effective. I know of a church that has a bicycle ministry, and when they're going to have a day of building and repairing bikes, they send out a tweet. This Saturday, bike build, 10 a.m., church garage, north parking lot. Can't be there? Click here. And it takes you to a page that both explains the bike ministry and has options for how you can support it. Want to volunteer? It launches an email to the head of that ministry team. Then there are these options. Buy pedals, $5. Inner tube and tire, $10. Handlebars, $20. Seat, $25. Frame repair, $50. Clicking on your choice of bike parts takes you to their electronic giving page, where if you're already registered, you just click OK and your donation is made. If you're not registered, it takes you to the page where you can share your information and then make a donation. And all of this captures email addresses for acknowledgments so we can say thank you and so they can make contact in the future. Generally, all of these vital congregations tied communication back to the vision and mission. While information about times and places and news about the faith community are important, far and away the communication is directed at telling the story of the church's work and its impact, even while it may be asking for support or setting expectations about participation. They open as many channels as they can to reach as many people as they can, and they make those avenues two-way streets where people can reach back either to express their support or their need for support, where they can request prayer, pastoral visits, or whatever. So remember that when it comes to communication, tone, content, and channel, matched with messaging that's clear, concise, and consistent, make for great communication. In our next installment, we'll talk about the importance of gratitude and saying thank you. For the Center for Faith and Giving, I'm Bruce Barkauer. Ignite the power of generosity potential in your congregation with Generosity Plus. Contact us for more information about our consulting and coaching services.